So, real quick, I'm going to have you introduce yourself and just state your name, your job, and what you like to do. So,
Okay. My name is Corinne Vick, and my job is a pharmaceutical sales rep. I work for Gilead Sciences, and I represent the leading brand for HIV treatment.
okay. So the first question was, what is your current position, which you already mentioned. So, what does a pharmaceutical sales representative specifically do?
Mhm. So, a pharmaceutical sales rep represents one or more brands, and basically, our job is to go out and influence doctors to prescribe their brand to their patients. So, it's very frequent visitation with the doctors. I see my doctors every other week. I see about 30 doctors a week, and I am discussing all different elements of the disease state of HIV during that time frame and positioning my drug in the best possible light and giving a lot of patient examples and solving problems for my customers, which are my doctors, so that the my solution is my brand.
Yeah. Okay, so what exactly made you pursue this type of work?
Well, I've always liked sales, and about 10 years ago, I decided when I re-entered the job market that I wanted to do something that really mattered and counted. And I thought pharmaceutical sales would be something that would interest me. And I've learned an extremely valuable information about the healthcare system, insurance, pharmacies, and I just find that healthcare is very fascinating and everybody needs to learn and know more about it.
Yeah. And so, when taking a little bit of a deeper look into that, how did you get to this line of work? So what was kind of like the process throughout college and
Mhm.
ongoing?
Well, I in college I decided I wanted to go into professional sales, so I majored in marketing and I had sales jobs during my college years, so I had hands-on experience. Mostly I did sales in the summertime. And then when I graduated from college, my first job was a professional sales job selling hardware and software for IBM. So I learned basic sales techniques, influences, and strategies that really translate it well into any kind of professional sales environment.
Wow.
And then I did that for a number of years. I ran my own retail business for a number of years. And of course, that includes sales right along with business management. And then left the job market for a number of years and then got back into professional sales.
Yeah. Okay. So, kind of going more towards when you were in college, what do you think are the most important skills a college student should develop to be ready to pursue this type of career? And
Mhm.
why do you think they're so important?
I think that it's important for college students to get as much practice in speaking in public and leadership as well, and maybe negotiation or influencing. So you can influence people in a lot of different ways by being a leader of an organization, by being a leader in the classroom. Um, by demonstrating leadership and influence, that will prepare you for a job in professional sales because you have to be able to think quickly on your feet. You have to be assertive and talk to all different kinds of people.
Yeah. So do you think if you could choose one of those to be the most important, what do you think that one is best for sales?
I think being learning to be personable and being able to connect with individuals is a must, and it really translates into being successful in sales because really what you're doing is you're asking questions, you're an investigator, you're listening, you're learning, and you're solving problems for your customers. So really being able to talk to somebody one on one is really imperative.
Okay, wonderful. And next question is, what do you feel are the most important experiences as a college student that a college student should have to be competitive on the job market?
So I think that work experience is very, very valuable, either working during the school year, working in the summer, having an internship in your field, working within your field. If you want to go into professional sales, having a sales or marketing internship would be helpful. I also think public speaking, like, for example, I was a tour guide on campus. And I think that that prepared me for speaking in front of large groups and elevating my voice and making points about important things. Because really, when you're influencing a doctor in pharmaceutical sales, you're emphasizing and re-emphasizing very specific messages. And it's the same kind of thing if you're doing that as a tour guide.
Huh, very good. And so, what advice would you give a college student to help them, get ready to go into this field and into the job market?
I would recommend getting as high grades as possible, which means excelling in school, of course, getting as much opportunity to speak in front of the classroom, in front of your peer groups, um, having applicable job experience, I think is really helpful before you get that first professional role. So, an internship, I think, would be imperative. And then joining organizations outside of school where you have an opportunity to maybe lead a group of people in some form or fashion would be very beneficial prior to getting a professional sales career going.
Okay, perfect. And if you had to choose one thing, what is the biggest thing you did to get yourself ready for your specific career?
I think I had a good, solid foundation and understanding of overall how businesses run and really learning about the mentality and strategy of sales. There's a lot of sales books that you can read that give you a lot of different perspectives on success in sales. And I think reading some of those self-help professional sales books would be helpful. And so you prepare yourself for the right mindset as you're going into interviews, because sales is a very specific thing, and hiring managers are looking for very specific characteristics and elements. But in a lot of there's a lot of great sales books out there that you can explore to help prepare yourself as well.
So you believe in going above and beyond and going further than what your professor tells you to read. You would go further and find different things as well.
Yeah. Things that are very specific to being a professional salesperson, things that set you apart from the rest of the crowd.
Yeah, that's important, very important. So given your experience, what do you wish you knew when you first got on the job market?
Mm. It's hard to know. I think so many things we learn about business are learned on the job, and sometimes that's the best way to learn them. So we sometimes often say, you don't know what you don't know until you experience it. It's almost like making mistakes and learning from your mistakes. I don't really know what I wish I could go back and do better, because I don't really have any regrets. I think I've been very successful in my career. I always say I give it 110%. I'm very driven. And if you carry that forward into your mindset when you're working, um, I think you're going to do well. But I also think it's important to have downtime and personal time away from your job and your sales focus as well, so that you have a balanced life.
Yeah, I agree. So, how important is it for undergraduate students to develop these certain skills, such as like communication, sales, marketing within your job?
I think it's imperative. I think to be a good communicator, you have to practice, and you only get better through time. And so you have to put yourself in scenarios where you can practice leadership, articulation, communication, and creating a bond with people and customers. And it just takes time and years to practice those things. But without those skill sets, I don't, you have to have somewhat of a competitive skill set as well, or a competitive mindset, because sales is all, you're always competing with everyone else around you.
Yeah.
So the sales is a very competitive environment. It's kind of like an athlete's state of mind. An athlete and and a sales rep are very similar in their approach to how they do their work.
Yeah. So, kind of branching off that competitive aspect, how will developing that competitiveness help them in the workplace?
Well, competitiveness is everything. If you have that competitive drive, you're going to rise to the top and be number one. And when you're number one in sales, it sets you up for success, because if you demonstrate your success with one company, that's a building step to the next best job. And really, in sales, you have to prove that you can do the job and do it well. And that will keep promoting you to the next best company, the next best level, and really open the door for other opportunities that you might want to pursue.
Yeah. So, also branching off kind of that those skill sets, what do you think undergraduate students need to know in order to perform well in pharmaceutical sales?
Well, I think having a very tough, rigorous course of classes prepares you well for the work world, because just because you leave college and into the work world doesn't mean things are going to be any easier. It's just going to be a little bit different. Your focus is different, but the work is still hard. So if you get used to a rigorous curriculum and with 4 years of college, that's going to set you up for working hard when you get into a professional sales career, because
Yeah.
it really never stops.
That is true. In college, you feel like it's never going to stop, and then you get into the workforce, and you're like, okay, well, this is the same thing, but just a little bit different. So,
Just different. Yeah.
so what can a person do to develop these skills before they get into the workforce, so they don't have to do it while
Mhm.
they're working?
I definitely think reading self-help books and professional sales books. There's a whole list of professional sales development books, because developing yourself professionally and personally is really expected from employers now in today's world. They want to know what you're doing to improve yourself outside of your work. So it's, I think, during downtimes, off times, vacation times, it's good to read those self help sales books and really exploring what kind of professional sales career that you want to do by researching companies that you're interested in working for and going to their websites and looking up just what are their mission statements, what are the goals of the organization. Getting to know organizations that you're looking to work for will better help you understand maybe and narrow down what type of companies you would like to work for.
Yeah. And so, going off of that a little bit, when looking for a job, is it imperative that you stick to wanting to be that pharmaceutical sales representative? Or do you think you should ease into it and start with maybe a little bit of a simpler form of sales job?
Well, I think you should opt to get the very best sales job you can. And if you want to be in pharmaceutical sales jobs or sales career, then I would stick with pharmaceutical companies. But you could also branch off and consider device sales, or even non-pharmaceutical sales jobs like software, hardware, or other businesses that have professional sales, because I think that software is where the future is as well. So you could very successfully start in software and maybe transition into pharma, because once you, as long as you have demonstrated that you can sell pharma jobs, somebody will hire you in the pharma world as long as you can demonstrate that you have a selling capability.
Okay. And this is going to be the final question. So, what else do you think is important for undergraduate students to know about getting ready for their career and their job market?
Mhm. I think it's really good to build a network of people that you know, because in life and in landing jobs, who you know and developing a network of people is going to help you lifelong. And so, starting in college, getting a LinkedIn presence is really important. Commenting on people who post on LinkedIn will get you more reviews. And once in a while, being a participant on LinkedIn by commenting on what others post and what other businesses post. I will recommend that the LinkedIn profile and participation should be 100% professional at all times, because that is the platform for professional communications and networking. But I can't overemphasize how important a network is to have. And that starts with your friends, your family, your parents' friends, your parents' family, friends, and your friends and their parents. That's how you start building a network. Once you get a job, your network becomes the new people that you work with, and it builds from there.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for the interview. And it was great to speak with you about this and learn a little bit more about the career field that I wanted to go into.
My pleasure.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.